Welcome to the Learning Curve. The Learning Curve is a new tool for the online reporting of assessment information at St Peter's College. It can be found within Keystone in the left-hand panel within the Learning Curve tile. As teachers, you have the right to investigate the academic performance of any student at the school just by entering his name within the student search function within the dashboard. In that way, you will be able to explore how the student is performing against each of the learning outcomes that have been assessed as part of his subjects, as well as looking at the overall graph of his assessments throughout the year. This is particularly useful for mentors who want to get a detailed overview of how a student in their mentor group is performing in a variety of subjects taught by a variety of teachers. As a classroom teacher, the first step is to explore Manage SATs. Within this page, you'll be able to find all of the assessments that have been allocated to your class within a particular semester or year level. Once you select a particular class that you're teaching, you'll be able to see the list of assessments that are expected to be completed by the students in that class and for which you will have to enter the grades in due course. By clicking the three dots next to the assessment itself, you will be able to open a menu which includes the self-assessment tool. Initiating the self-assessment will deliver an automated email to each student in that class asking them to self-assess how they think they're performing against each of the learning outcomes that have been associated to this assessment. These are the learning outcomes drawn from the Australian curriculum. This is a particularly powerful tool for the enhancement of student assessment capability, or in other words, to help students understand their assessments in greater detail. And we know from Hattie's research in visible learning that assessment capability is one of the most important teaching strategies that we can use in order to improve student attainment. In other words, if we spend time on helping students understand their assessments and how they will be assessed and what skills particularly you'll be looking for when you assess them, you're more likely to help them achieve better than otherwise. In order to enter your own grades, once you've marked the student's work for significant assessment tasks, you need to go to the assessment page. In this view, you'll be able to select a class that you're teaching, and then one particular significant assessment task that you're ready to enter the data for. And then you'll see a view which includes the students in that class. You can click any student first, click the boy's name, enter a judgment, a value judgment in terms of how he's performing against each of the learning outcomes, enter some individual feedback for the student. This is often the most important aspect of your marking or of your assessment feedback. So something to do with what the student can keep doing, start doing, and stop doing would be good. On an optional basis, you can also upload the student's work if you have it digitally. Allocate a grade to the student, and then click Submit Student. You can see that this student has now been completed because he has a tick next to his name. Once every student has been completed and the data for the way they've performed against the assessment has been entered, they will all feature ticks, and the Submit Class button will become active. At the moment, it's inactive because I haven't completed all students. This Submit Class button is essentially the Publish button, and it's the button that will release the data to all of their boys and their parents too. So please remember to tick it or click it once you've completed every student. If you're waiting on one or two students to complete the assessment because it's been delayed or they've been absent and so forth, you can list those students as not assessed and submit the students so that they're in a way dealt with within the spreadsheet or the tool itself. And then you'll be able to submit class without having to wait on every student to complete the assessment. If you want to see the results that you've entered as part of the assessment entry data that you've undertaken in your various significant assessment tasks throughout the year, you can use the Markbook tool, and once you select your own class, you'll be able to see in some detail the marks and the data that has been entered for the boys in your class. And you can see that we have a column listing the students' names, the grades, and also a column listing each of the learning outcomes and how well the students have performed. It is in this tool that you will also be able to see the self-assessments that students may have entered if you triggered the self-assessment email. And this is an interesting and quick way of finding out which aspect of the assessment boys feel that they've performed best at or worst at, or if you triggered the self-assessment before the assessment event, you could use it as a diagnostic tool in terms of providing intervention before the assessment itself. All of the data on this page can also be exported to Excel, and if you click this button, which is Export All SATs for this class, it will export all of the data for all of your significant assessment tasks for this class into an Excel spreadsheet.